The 2024 NFL offseason has barely begun for the Detroit Lions, but yet they're on the verge of signing a massive extension for one of their superstar players. Stay tuned, everybody. We're going to talk about it.
We used to be a team no one respected. We used to be a team no one feared. That was then. This is now.
First victory of the year on the line. Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, end zone. Yes! Caught!
You know who we are.
10, 5, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
And you know where to find us. We won't be far. We'll be on your front porch waiting for you. We are the New Era Lions. And
we are driven by Detroit.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving in. But before we get into it, I just want to again say to all my loyal fans and subscribers, welcome on back. Absolutely means the world to me that I have such loyal fans and subscribers. And to those that are tuning in for the very first time, again, thank you all for giving your time to the show. Thank you all for giving my show a shot. I hope you all enjoy the content. But even more so, I hope to gain your subscription if I've earned and deserved it. And with that having been said, to everybody, I just hope you guys are having a great day. God bless, and let's get into the show here. So, again, not going to beat around the bush with this because primarily everybody already knows what I'm about to talk about here. So, this is what we have to talk about. When we take a look at what the news cycles have been the last couple of hours, we have been told by rumors and by a certain individual that is an NFL insider, that NFL insider called Cam Marino, he says that he has sources that have the Lions and wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown in extensive contract talks to give the young superstar and, well, even all-star a well-deserved contract extension. And again, this comes from his Twitter account. Now, what is Marino specifically stating here in his freaking tweet? What he is stating is that the deal, supposedly, from what he's being told, is going to be about a 3-year deal, which that in of itself, that's not the big news. The big news is not the length is not the length, but rather what the news is what supposedly Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be making in terms of average per year, which is supposed to be about $25 million on average a year. Now, I'm just going to say this right now. Amon-Ra St. Brown making $25 million a year, that is some pretty significant news right there, because let me just put this out there. If that news, that rumor is supposedly accurate, first and foremost, that would make Amon-Ra St. Brown a very, very rich man indeed. But more importantly, it would make Amon-Ra St. Brown one of the highest paid wide receivers in averages per year, because if you go to, I believe it's either Over the Cap, you can even go to Spot Rack as well, and you take a look at those, what you're going to see is that would make Amon-Ra St. Brown tied for the 4th highest NFL wide receiver on average per year in terms of average salary. He would be tied with wide receiver A.J. Brown at $25 million on average a year. That right there would mean that Amon-Ra St. Brown is getting not only a significant jump in pay, but he's also getting a significant jump in terms of status. Because if I recall correctly, Amon-Ra St. Brown is like, his contract value as it stands right now, because he's still on his rookie deal, is like 115 out of like 300. Like, he's almost like near the middle of the league. But yet everybody knows Amon-Ra St. Brown has not been performing at like middle of the league level. He has been performing at top 10, top 5 level. Which is kind of why I wanted to have some fun with this episode, because whether or not this is what Amon-Ra St. Brown gets at the end of the day, we don't know. I'm highly, highly believing it's going to happen, because Amon-Ra St. Brown has more than deserved a contract like this. And to me, everybody else already knows that Amon-Ra St. Brown has earned a contract of these proportions. So it would not surprise me if Amon-Ra St. Brown were to get this kind of a contract. But I want to show you guys all something, because this right here was something that really got my attention once I started crunching numbers. Again, I don't really like doing math, but every so often I get a little bit curious and I start crunching numbers just to be like, okay, I want to see how well, in comparison to others, Amon-Ra St. Brown has been playing, not only in terms of statistical production, but also in terms of how cost efficient he has been for the Lions in comparison to other top-name wide receivers. So, start taking a look at this, folks. Amon-Ra St. Brown was drafted in 2021, right? So, since 2021, Amon-Ra St. Brown has done this as a wide receiver. He has 315 receptions, 3,588 yards. He has 11.4 an average catch, and he has 21 receiving touchdowns. The receptions are 5th, the yards are 8th, and the touchdowns are 14th. Think about that. How many freaking wide receivers, tight ends, all the lot of them are out there, and yet pretty much what you're seeing there is Amon-Ra St. Brown is a top 10 producing wide receiver in comparison to all other wide receivers and tight ends. That's a pretty damn impressive accomplishment in 3 short years for a 4th round draft pick. Now, take those numbers that I just gave and put them in the back of your head and store them for a moment. Because now what I want to do is I want to show you the 4 guys that are going to have contracts that are supposedly, again, according to Cam Marino, that are supposedly going to have either higher averages per year or equal averages per year in terms of contract money. If you take a look at the 4 guys that are ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown, again, supposedly in comparison to what he's supposed to be getting, this is what you got. You have Tyreek Hill, who's averaging $30 million per year. You have Davante Adams, who's averaging $28 million per year. You have Cooper Kupp, who's averaging $26.7 million per year. And then you have A.J. Brown, who's who's getting $25 million per year, which supposedly is what Amon-Ra St. Brown is supposed to get. Now, I decided to say, okay, here. We already know that all of those guys have done absolutely stupendous over the last 3 years because, hey, there's a reason why they're in the top 4, top 5 of earning power for wide receivers. Davante Adams has been one of the best for a long time. Tyreek Hill, there's a reason why the man's called the Cheetah. Cooper Kupp, again, he was good with Jared Goff when he was out in L.A., and he's been good with Matthew Stafford when he got out to L.A. A.J. Brown really was a good wide receiver with the Titans and continued to do so when he got to the Eagles. So all of these guys have done really, really well over the last 3 years. But I'm going to tell you this right now. What I decided to do is I said, okay, here. Let's just take a look at what Amon-Ra St. Brown has been making in terms of his quote-unquote contract that he has right now, and then kind of take a comparison and say, okay, here. I like to take a look at things, to make this look really, really interesting. So I said, hey, let's take a look at what Amon-Ra St. Brown has been doing in terms of his contract and compare it to Tyreek Hill, who has the #1 contract in terms of value for all wide receivers, and then take a look at the cost comparison between the two in terms of production that they have put on the field. So, here's what we have. If you take a look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, when he got drafted, he got a 4-year contract that was worth $4,265,260, which averages out to $1,066,315 a year. That was Amon-Ra St. Brown's rookie contract right there. Now, let's understand something here. I decided to then take a look at Amon-Ra St. Brown's contract overall and then say, okay, the average amount of money he's making per year, I want to then take a look and compare that to the average amount of money that all those guys that I just mentioned are making per year, which was Brown, Hill, Kupp, and Adams. Think about this, folks. Amon-Ra St. Brown's average per year is literally anywhere from 3.3% to 4% of what the top wide receivers have been making, yet Amon-Ra St. Brown is producing numbers in the exact same ball court, if you will, that those guys are making. So think about that. Amon-Ra St. Brown is getting paid only 3 to 4% of what the top dogs are making, but yet he is producing at the exact same level. I would say he's definitely earned that contract. And I would definitely say, to move into my second point, that Amon-Ra St. Brown has been a steal for the Detroit Lions in terms of production, because now we're going to compare Amon-Ra St. Brown to Tyreek Hill in terms of cost effectiveness from their money-making power over the last 3 years. Because this is what I want to take a look at. I want to take a look at that cost comparison between Hill and Amon-Ra St. Brown from 2021 and 2023. Which, let me tell you something, this was a little bit of an interesting ordeal because I had to take a look at Tyreek Hill's contracts to figure out how this would work. Because in 2021, he played his last year with the Kansas City Chiefs, and the last 2 years he's been playing with the Dolphins. So what I did is I went to Over the Cap and I took a look at how much actual cash money that Tyreek Hill was getting paid, which if I recall correctly, I think he was getting paid over the entirety of 2021 to 2023 between the Chiefs and the Dolphins, $66-something million. So it's like, okay, actually it was $66,435,500 compared to the last 3 years, Amon-Ra St. Brown only getting paid $3,210,260. So then you take a look at the stats. Again, we already know what Amon-Ra St. Brown's stats were. Here's Tyreek Hill's stats over the last 3 years. 349 receptions, 4,748 yards, 29 touchdowns. So again, it's comparable. Obviously, Tyreek Hill has 1,000 more yards and he's got some more touchdowns. But again, it's comparable, folks. Now, take a look at the cost per unit here. What I'm saying here is how much money it costs per one of each one of these stats. So how much did it cost per catch in terms of their overall money compared to one of their catches, one of their receiving yards, one of their touchdowns? Take a look at Tyreek Hill's. For Tyreek Hill, for every one catch that he got, it cost his team $190,358. For every receiving yard, it cost $13,992. And for every touchdown pass he caught, it cost $2,290,879. That's a pretty substantial amount of money per each individual one of those units, right? Now take a look at Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is where I'm saying Amon-Ra St. Brown has been an absolute cost-saving measure and steal for the Detroit Lions. For every single catch that Amon-Ra St. Brown has made, it has only cost the Lions $10,191 in comparison to freaking Tyreek Hill's $190,000. For every single yard that Amon-Ra St. Brown has made, it has only cost the Lions $894. Not even $1,000, only $894. And for every single touchdown, $152,869. Again, when you take a look at those two sets of numbers, you're already seeing a vast difference between how much Tyreek Hill is costing his ball club versus how much Amon-Ra St. Brown has been costing his ball club, but yet both of them are putting up similar numbers. Again, Tyreek Hill's are a little bit better, but still in the same ballpark. But then I decided to say, okay, let's take a look at the cost difference in terms of percentages here for each one of those categories. Catches, yards, touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown, literally, for each one of those, for catches, it's 5.4% of what Tyreek Hill is costing his team. That's a 94.6% difference in terms of cost, which means Amon-Ra St. Brown for his catches was 94.6% cheaper. For his yards, only 6.4% in terms of comparison to Tyreek Hill. So that's 93.6% cheaper. And for touchdowns, 6.7%. So 93.3% cheaper, folks. My whole point is this. Number one, Amon-Ra St. Brown is definitely deserving of this contract, which I don't think anybody was debating on how much he was deserving of the contract. But when you take a look at these numbers, and then you take a look at the cost comparison analysis that I've just gone painstakingly through, oh yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown has definitely more than earned the contract, because it's like, listen, when you compare him to Tyreek Hill, who's got the #1 contract out of all wide receivers in the NFL, then you start breaking down how much per unit cost is for catches, yards, touchdowns, and are like, okay, how much are they actually costing their team per each unit? Then you start realizing that the Lions got an absolute steal in terms of Amon-Ra St. Brown and how much he's been able to produce versus how much he's costing the team to produce. It's not even in the same ballpark. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been saving the Lions a crap ton of money versus how much he's been able to produce in comparison to the other top wide receivers, which is why Amon-Ra St. Brown deserves to get a huge, substantial spike in terms of his payday. And this is something that I believe absolutely makes sense for the Lions, and I can't wait to actually hear what his contract is, so that way we can start actually talking about that. But until that time, I just wanted to put this out there because I thought this was really interesting. So with that having been said, I just want to say thank you all for watching another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe. If by chance you subscribed in the past, forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and not had a chance to do so, again, want to highly encourage y'all to subscribe. It really helps out the channel. But also, after you subscribe, please make sure you turn on that bell notification icon as well, so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. Again, subscription numbers are always going up, but we want to make sure we turn on that notification icon, so that way you never miss any more content as soon as I release it. To help in that endeavor, please share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. The more we share it, the better the channel spreads, which means the better the channel grows, and I always am thankful for every share as well as every subscription. And with that being said, to everybody, I just want to again say thank you all for devoting some of your time to watching the content. It really means the world to me that I have such fans that want to keep coming back to the channel. But with that being said, I also want to say thank you to the subscriptions that I got. If you have not yet decided to subscribe, hopefully I'll get another chance to do so on the next episode. But until that time, I just want to say to everybody, God bless, and until the next time we meet, I'll see y'all in the next episode.